The studio lights felt hotter than usual that morning, casting a bright, almost unforgiving glow across the set. The audience buzzed with anticipation, sensing something different in the air. The hosts sat poised behind the table, smiles practiced but slightly strained, as the show cut to a commercial, break just moments before welcoming a very special guest. When the cameras rolled again, the energy shifted instantly. Keanu Reeves walked onto the stage with his usual calm presence, dressed simply, offering a humble smile that drew loud applause from the audience. He waved politely and took his seat, greeting everyone with a quiet warmth. At first, everything seemed perfectly normal. Light jokes were exchanged, and the conversation started off easy, touching on his latest project and his thoughts on storytelling. Joy Behar leaned forward, her tone sharp but controlled. She had always been known for her directness, and today was no exception. At first, her questions seemed harmless, even playful, but there was an undercurrent that began to grow. She asked Keanu about his tendency to stay out of political debates, hinting that celebrities had a responsibility to speak up more often. Keanu responded calmly, choosing his words carefully. He explained that he believed in kindness, in helping people quietly, and in making a difference without always needing to broadcast it. His voice remained steady, his expression thoughtful, but Joy wasn't satisfied. The atmosphere began to tighten. The other hosts shifted slightly in their seats, sensing the tension building like a storm on the horizon. Joy pressed further, questioning whether silence, in certain situations, could be interpreted as indifference. Her tone became more pointed, her words sharper. Keanu didn't raise his voice. He didn't interrupt. Instead, he listened, nodding occasionally, his calm demeanor almost contrasting too strongly with the rising intensity. When he finally spoke again, his response was measured but firm. He explained that everyone contributes in their own way, and that judgment without understanding someone's full actions could be misleading. A ripple moved through the audience. Some nodded in agreement while others exchanged glances. The tension was no longer subtle, it was palpable. Joy's expression changed. Her smile faded, replaced by a look of frustration. She leaned back slightly, then forward again, her voice rising just enough to catch everyone's attention. She challenged his perspective, suggesting that his approach might be too passive in a world that demanded bold action. For a brief moment, the studio felt completely still. Keanu met her gaze, his expression calm but unwavering. He didn't argue aggressively. Instead, he spoke about empathy, about listening, and about the idea that real change often comes from understanding rather than confrontation. His words weren't loud, but they carried weight. The audience reacted again, this time louder. Some clapped, others murmured. The energy in the room was shifting unpredictably. Joy glanced toward the audience, clearly aware of the reaction. Her frustration deepened. She tried to regain control of the conversation, steering it in a different direction, but the tension lingered like a shadow that refused to disappear. The other hosts attempted to lighten the mood, offering softer questions, but the moment had already taken hold. It wasn't just an interview anymore. It felt like a clash of philosophies, of personalities, of two completely different ways of seeing the world. Then came the moment that changed everything. Joy interrupted Keanu mid-sentence. It wasn't loud, but it was abrupt, the kind of interruption that carries more weight than shouting. Keanu paused, looking slightly surprised but still composed. She spoke quickly, her words coming out sharper than before, suggesting that his viewpoint was overly idealistic and disconnected from reality. There was a hint of disbelief in her voice, as if she couldn't accept what he was saying. The room went quiet again. Keanu took a breath before responding. This time, his tone carried a subtle firmness that hadn't been there before. He didn't attack, but he didn't retreat either. He spoke about the importance of staying true to one's beliefs, even when others don't understand them. He emphasized that kindness and patience weren't weaknesses, but strengths. The audience erupted into applause. That was the breaking point. Joy's expression hardened. She glanced around the table, then at the audience, clearly frustrated. The applause didn't fade quickly enough. It lingered, filling the space in a way that made the tension impossible to ignore. Without another word, she pushed her chair back. The movement was sudden, almost shocking in its simplicity. The sound of the chair scraping against the floor cut through the studio like a sharp note. The audience gasped, unsure of what was happening. Joy stood up, her face set, and walked off the stage. For a few seconds, no one spoke. The cameras stayed rolling, capturing the stunned reactions of the hosts and the audience. It was one of those rare live moments where everything feels unscripted, raw and completely real. Keanu remained seated, his expression calm but slightly concerned. He didn't smile. He didn't react dramatically. He simply sat there, hands folded, as if respecting the gravity of what had just happened. The other hosts quickly tried to recover. One of them laughed nervously. Another attempted to redirect the conversation. But the energy had changed completely. The lightness from earlier was gone, replaced by something heavier, something more complicated. Keanu eventually spoke again, his voice soft but steady. He said that conversations like these were important, even when they became uncomfortable. That growth often comes from disagreement, from moments that challenge us. The audience listened closely, the earlier tension slowly transforming into something more reflective. As the show moved forward, there was an unspoken acknowledgement that something significant had occurred. Not just a dramatic walk-off, but a moment that revealed deeper differences in perspective, in communication, in how people respond under pressure. Backstage, whispers spread quickly. Crew members exchanged looks. Producers spoke urgently into headsets, and the atmosphere behind the scenes mirrored the intensity that had just unfolded on camera. Meanwhile, on stage, Keanu remained composed, answering the remaining questions, with the same calm presence he had shown from the beginning. If anything, his demeanor seemed even more grounded, as if the storm had only reinforced his sense of balance. By the time the segment ended, the audience gave him a standing ovation. It wasn't just for his work or his fame. It was for the way he handled the moment, for staying calm when things escalated, for choosing patience over confrontation. And as the cameras finally cut away, one thing was certain. This wasn't just another interview. It was a moment people would be talking about for a long time.